The sky above the human colony of Helios 9 was bright and peaceful. Children laughed in the streets, and people went about their daily lives, unaware of the shadow approaching from deep space. No one expected an attack. They believed they were safe, far away from war, far away from the Valak Dominion. But that was a mistake. High above the planet, a Valak warship slid out of warp space, silent and deadly. Inside the ship, alien warriors prepared for the raid. Their leader, Karzek, a tall and cruel commander, looked down at the peaceful colony and smiled. To him, these humans were weak, soft, and slow. Taking their resources would be easy. Another mission, another win. No one would even remember their names. The warship fired its cannons. Buildings exploded. Smoke filled the air. Sirens screamed across Helios 9 as chaos broke out. People ran. Some hid. Some tried to fight. But the Valak were strong, armored, and fast. They moved through the streets like monsters in a nightmare. Karzek landed with his soldiers near the colony's center. His orders were simple: burn everything, take what was useful, and leave nothing behind. As he walked through the flames, he saw a woman trying to help an injured child. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just stood there, shielding the child with her own body. Karzek saw this as foolish. He walked toward her. The woman's name was Lena. "Move," Karzek growled, pointing his weapon at her. She looked up, calm and brave, and said, "Not until you leave the child alone." Karzek laughed. To him, this was amusing. A tiny human woman thinking she could stop a Valak warrior? He raised his clawed hand and struck her hard across the face. She fell to the ground, blood on her lip, but still breathing. He grabbed the child and tossed him aside like trash. He never even asked her name. He didn't know she was married, and he had no idea who her husband was. Far away on a quiet moon near the edges of known space, a small cabin sat in silence. Inside, a man stood still, watching the burning of Helios 9 on an old, flickering screen. His face was half hidden in shadow. His eyes, cold as ice, locked onto the image of Lena being hit. The video had been sent secretly from a broken security drone. It showed everything: the ships, the fire, the aliens, and her. The man didn't speak. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He simply watched. His name was Jacob Reyes. Once, long ago, people called him the Reaper. He had fought in the Great Human War, had led armies, had destroyed fleets with his bare hands and mind. But after the war ended, he disappeared. Some said he died. Others said he went mad. The truth was simpler. He left the world behind, tired of killing, tired of being a weapon, until now. Reyes stepped away from the screen and opened a steel door buried under the cabin floor. Dust rose into the air. He hadn't touched this room in years. Inside were weapons, guns, blades, armor, pieces of death collected across a lifetime of war. He didn't hesitate. He picked up his gear like a man putting on his skin. It fit, perfectly, like it never left. A voice spoke from the corner of the room. "She's still alive." It was Rook, his old AI companion. A drone hovered beside him, small and quiet. Rook had survived the war, too. He had watched over Reyes in silence all these years. "They took her," Rook continued. "The Dominion captured her after the raid. She's on one of their warships, now, possibly being moved to their capital." Reyes looked at the small drone. His voice was low and calm. "Do you have a location?" "Not yet, but I can find it." "Then find it," Reyes said. "I'm going after her." Rook paused for a moment. "This will be war, Jacob. You know that. They won't stop coming." Reyes turned and walked toward his old ship, hidden under thick vines behind the cabin. As the dust fell off the metal hull, the name on the side became clear. Ghost Fang. He stopped at the ramp and looked back at the AI drone. "They touched the wrong woman," he said. "Now they all burn." The ship's engines came to life with a loud roar. Blue fire lit the night sky as the Ghost Fang rose into the air and vanished into the stars. It was fast, older tech, but deadly, just like its pilot. Back on the Valak warship, Karzek was enjoying the success of the raid. He didn't care about the humans. To him, they were bugs. He sat in his chamber, drinking strange purple liquid from a golden cup, unaware that a ghost had just returned to the galaxy. A ghost with fire in his heart and death in his hands. Rook's voice echoed through the cabin as the stars blurred. "Into warp!" "I found her." Ray's fingers tightened around the flight controls. "Take me there," he said. "I'm bringing her home, and I'm bringing hell with me." The hunt had begun, and this time it was personal. The stars moved like silver rivers as the Ghost Fang flew through space. Inside the ship, Jacob Reyes sat in silence, his face cold, his eyes sharp. He was not the same man who had disappeared years ago. That man had tried to live in peace. But peace was over now. Reyes opened a small locker near the cockpit. Inside were pictures, old photos. One showed him and Lena smiling on a green planet, far from any war. She wore a white dress. He had no armor, no guns, just a peaceful face. He touched the photo for a moment, then placed it back. "Rook," he said. "Report." The AI drone floated beside him. "I traced the Valak fleet. They are heading to Sector 7K. That's close to the edge of Dominion space." Reyes narrowed his eyes. "That's where they keep prisoners they want to break." "Yes," Rook replied. "That's where they'll take her." Reyes leaned back in his seat. He remembered Lena's voice, her laugh, the way she looked at him when no one else could calm his rage. She was his only peace, and now she was gone. "I'm going to get her back," he said, "even if I have to burn the stars to do it." As the ship moved through space, Reyes began his preparations. He opened the old weapons locker and checked each item carefully. A plasma rifle, twin energy blades, a black combat suit that adjusted to his body like a second skin. Everything still worked. His body was older, but still strong. Trained, sharp, deadly. He strapped a wrist device onto his arm. It lit up with a red glow. "Combat link active," Rook said. "Tracking systems online." The Ghost Fang dropped out of warp near an abandoned mining station. This was once a Valak refueling point. Now it was empty, but Rook had found signals. Valak patrols had passed through just hours ago. Reyes landed silently. He moved through the dark halls of the station like a shadow. His eyes scanned for signs, footprints, heat signatures, scraps of data. It didn't take long. He found a broken Valak comm device still running. He plugged it into his wrist unit. "They're moving her," Rook said. "To the Valak outer fortress. Estimated time 36 hours. Reyes' jaw tightened. "Then I move faster." Just then, he heard a sound. A group of Valak soldiers was entering the station, unaware of who was inside. 6 of them, fully armed. Reyes didn't wait. He moved like a ghost, silent and deadly. His energy blade lit up with a soft blue light. In seconds, 2 of the aliens were down. The others turned, confused, shouting in their own language. But it didn't matter. Reyes was already behind them. One tried to fire. Too slow. The last 2 ran, scared, calling for help. Reyes let one go. On purpose. As the surviving soldier escaped into a small scout ship and flew away, Rook spoke again. "You let him live? He'll go straight to Karzek," Reyes said. "Let them know I'm coming." On the Valak capital ship, Karzek stood tall before his officers. They were laughing about the raid on Helios 9, celebrating the riches they stole. One officer showed a recording of the woman, Lena, tied and unconscious in a cold cell. Karzek waved his hand. "She's bait, nothing more," he said. "Let her suffer." Then a soldier rushed in. He was the one Reyes had let escape. "Commander!" he shouted in the Valak tongue. "The human! He's back!" Karzek turned. "What human?" "The Reaper. Jacob Reyes." The room went silent. Karzek's smile faded. He remembered that name. Long ago, during the war, Valak forces feared only one man. A human who killed without mercy. A warrior who destroyed a whole fleet with just one ship. That man disappeared. Until now. Karzek slammed his fist into a wall. "If he wants war, we'll give him one." Back on the Ghost Fang, Reyes sat in the pilot's chair as the ship re-entered warp. "Where to next?" Rook asked. "Valak Outpost Gamma 7, Reyes said. "We need intel, and I need something else." "What?" Reyes turned, his voice calm but filled with fire. A reminder. The ship jumped through space again, this time faster, hotter, as if fueled by rage. 30 hours left until they reached the fortress. 30 hours until Lena would be gone forever. But Jacob Reyes wasn't just a man, he was a ghost, and now he was awake. The stars blurred again as the Ghost Fang moved like a silent knife through the darkness of space. Jacob Reyes stood inside the armory bay, sharpening his blade slowly, like a ritual. Each scrape of metal against stone was a promise. A promise of pain. A promise of war. Rook hovered beside him, running calculations. "We're entering Valak territory now. Heavy patrols. No human has been this deep in years." "I'm not here to stay hidden," Reyes said. "I'm here to make noise." He strapped his blade across his back, then checked his weapons. Everything was ready. He knew he had little time. Lena's execution was planned for the night of the twin moons, a strange Valak ritual meant to be cruel, slow, and public. He wouldn't let that happen. The Ghost Fang approached an asteroid base called Outpost Gamma 7. It wasn't a major facility, just a Valak relay point, but Reyes didn't need a major win. He needed a message. As his ship cloaked and docked in the shadows, Valak guards walked lazily around the hangar, thinking they were safe. None of them noticed the dark figure dropping from the rafters above. Reyes moved quickly. The first two guards were taken down without a sound. He slipped into the control room, and before the officers could react, his blade swept through the air like lightning. He left one alive. "Where is Karzek?" Reyes asked, holding the alien by the throat. The officer stammered, voice full of fear. "Capital stronghold, deep core, Lena is there." Reyes' hand tightened. "Give me the coordinates." The alien obeyed. Reyes let him fall to the floor, gasping. Then he walked to the center of the base and opened a communication line. Not to humans, but to every Valak military channel. His face appeared across hundreds of enemy screens. "This is Jacob Reyes," he said. "You took someone who matters to me. I'm coming for her, and for every one of you. If you see Karzek, tell him. I'm not stopping." Then he planted charges on the fuel lines and walked out. As his ship flew away, the entire station exploded behind him, flames lighting up the stars. A burning message carved into the wreckage read, "I'm coming." Panic spread among the Valak Dominion. Reyes was a ghost story to many young soldiers, a myth told to scare them. Now that myth was real again, real and angry, in the capital. "Command Hall!" Karzek stared at the burning images from Gamma 7. He slammed his fist on the table. "He wants fear? Then give it to him. Double patrols, set traps, bring in the execution early. Let him watch her die." "But sir," one officer said, "what if he reaches us first?" Karzek growled. "He won't." But even he didn't believe it anymore. Back on the Ghost Fang, Reyes sat in silence. The ship's lights were dim. He looked at a small screen, showing Lena's face, soft, kind, smiling. "I'm not too late," he whispered. Rook interrupted. "We found a weakness in their defense line. There's a hidden cargo lane used by smugglers. We can use it to reach the inner zone." "Send the coordinates," Reyes said. "We go now." As the ship adjusted course, Rook added something strange. "I also intercepted a private Valak transmission. Some of them are afraid of Karzek. One of their own scientists is locked in a nearby station. He may be willing to talk. Reyes thought for a moment. Then we stop there first. The Ghost Fang changed direction again, now heading toward a secret prison lab orbiting a dying moon. Inside that lab was Dr. Varen, a Valok genetic expert who once tried to give the Valok super strength. But he failed and was thrown in prison. Reyes landed silently and broke into the lab. Guards were surprised but not ready. He moved fast, like wind through broken glass. Soon he found the prisoner, a weak, tired alien with glowing eyes and chains on his arms. "Dr. Varen?" Reyes asked. The alien looked up. "Why are you here, human?" "You hate Karzek," Reyes said. "Help me, and I'll let you live." Varen smiled bitterly. "You want to get into the capital?" Reyes nodded. "I'll give you the entry codes," Varen said. "But know this, Karzek is no longer just a commander. He's been enhanced. He's becoming something else. A monster." Reyes didn't flinch. "I've killed monsters before." He took the codes and left the lab in flames behind him. As the Ghost Fang moved once more through the stars, Reyes stood at the window, looking out. "Soon," he said softly. Rook's voice cut through the silence. "We're 2 jumps away from the capital. After that, it's war." Reyes turned to the drone. "It already is." The stars seemed darker near the Valak capital. Space here felt heavier, like it carried the weight of all the evil done by the Dominion. The Ghost Fang came out of warp slowly, hidden under stealth mode. Reyes stood at the window, calm but alert. Rook floated beside him. "We're close. The capital fortress is on the dark side of this moon, heavily guarded, ships everywhere." "Good," Reyes said. "Let them see me." Rook blinked. "You want to be seen?" "I want them to think they've caught me," he replied. "We're walking into their trap, but we'll make it ours." Down below, inside the fortress, Lena lay weak in a cold cell. Her face was bruised, her arms chained, but her spirit wasn't broken. She had heard rumors from the guards, whispers, that the Reaper was coming. She closed her eyes and whispered his name. Jacob. Outside, Karzek stood in the fortress control room. Dozens of soldiers moved around him. Drones flew above the moon. Cannons were ready. Fighters launched into orbit. The trap was set. "Let him come," Karzek growled. "This time the ghost dies." Reyes guided the Ghost Fang toward the fortress. He didn't use back routes. He flew straight in, bold, fast, fearless. Alarms went off. Enemy ships rushed in to intercept. "Activating combat shields," Rook announced. "No," Reyes said. "Drop the shields. Make them think we're weak." "What? That's suicide," Reyes smiled. "Not if they take the bait." Just before the enemy ships opened fire, Reyes fired 2 torpedoes, not at the ships, but at the nearby asteroid field. The explosion sent clouds of rock and dust into space. It blinded the scanners. In the confusion, the Ghost Fang twisted, dove, and vanished into the storm of debris. "Where'd he go?" a Valok pilot shouted. "He's gone! Lost visual!" But Reyes wasn't running. He was already slipping into the fortress's lower landing zone. Quiet, hidden, inside the storm, he landed the Ghost Fang without a sound. Then he stepped out, armed and ready. His black combat suit blended into the shadows. The blade on his back hummed softly. The Reaper was inside the walls. Meanwhile, Karzek smiled as a captured drone feed showed a ship exploding. "We got him," a soldier said, but Karzek's smile faded fast. "Zoom in," he ordered. The wreckage wasn't the Ghost Fang. It was one of their own ships. "Where's the human?" Karzek shouted. Silence. Then, alert, breach, in Sector 3. Inside the fortress, Reyes moved like a shadow. Guards fell one by one, some stunned, some silent forever. He made his way to the prison block, using Varine's stolen codes. The halls were dark, the air heavy. He found Lena's cell. She looked up, her eyes wide. "Jacob," she whispered. He stepped forward and cut her chains. "You're safe now." But before they could escape, a metal gate slammed shut. Gas hissed from the vents. Reyes grabbed Lena, pulling his mask over her face just in time. They were waiting. "For us," Rook said through his earpiece. "No," Reyes replied. "They were waiting for me." Above, Karzak watched them on the screen. "Seal the block. Send in the iron beasts." Moments later, the ground shook. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. The iron beasts were massive cyber soldiers, half machine, half Valok, with skin of armor and eyes that glowed red. Built to kill, Reyes turned to Lena. "Can you run?" "I can fight." He handed her a small sidearm. "Stay behind me." The doors burst open. 3 iron beasts charged in. Reyes didn't wait. He moved first, blade flashing. One of the beasts swung a massive claw, but he ducked and slid under it, slicing into its knee joint. Sparks flew. The beast roared and fell. Lena fired at the second one, aiming for the eye. A direct hit. It staggered back. The third grabbed Reyes and slammed him into a wall. His suit sparked. Blood touched his lip. But pain didn't stop him. He pulled a pulse grenade from his belt and shoved it into the beast's chest. Boom! The explosion lit the hallway in blue fire. All 3 beasts were down. Breathing hard, Reyes turned to Lena. "We move! Now!" They ran through the lower corridors. Rook guided them from above, hacking the doors, disabling traps. "You have 5 minutes before the next wave hits," Rook warned. "Karzak is coming himself." "Let him," Reyes said. "This ends tonight." As they reached the exit tunnel, the lights flickered. Karzak stepped out of the shadows. He was no longer just a commander. His body was larger, faster, twisted, by tech and rage. His arms were covered in thick armor. His voice was deeper, like thunder. "So," he said, "the ghost lives, but not for long." Reyes pushed Lena behind him. The 2 warriors faced each other. Steel versus rage, old pain versus new monsters. The trap had been set, but it had one problem. Jacob Reyes didn't die in traps. He turned them into battlegrounds. The lights in the tunnel flickered red. The air was heavy. Smoke drifted through the broken steel walls. Jacob Reyes stood between Lena and the monster that used to be Karzak. This was no normal fight. This was personal. Karzak stepped forward, metal feet shaking the ground. His body was larger now, twisted by machines, enhanced by stolen tech. Red lights ran through his arms. His eyes glowed with hate. "You think you can stop me, human?" Karzak growled. "You're just one man." Reyes didn't move. His voice was cold. "I'm enough." Without another word, Karzak charged. Reyes rolled aside just in time. The beast's metal fist smashed into the wall, sending sparks flying. Reyes drew his blade and slashed, hitting the creature's back. The blade cut deep, but Karzak didn't stop. He spun and grabbed Reyes, throwing him across the tunnel. Reyes hit the wall hard. His vision blurred for a second. Blood dripped from his nose. But he got back up. He always got back up. Lena raised her weapon and fired at Karzak, trying to distract. "Him! The shots bounced off his armor." "Run!" Reyes shouted. "I'm not leaving you!" she yelled. Karzak turned toward her. Reyes moved fast. He slammed into Karzak's side, pushing him away. They rolled across the floor, trading blows. Reyes pulled a plasma dagger from his belt and stabbed it into Karzak's arm. The monster roared and punched Reyes in the chest, cracking his armor. "You're weak," Karzak said. "Just a man with old weapons." "Maybe," Reyes gasped. "But I've got something you don't." "What?" Reyes smiled through the blood. "A reason to fight." He pressed a button on his wrist. From above, a loud hum echoed through the tunnels. The Ghost Fang. Rook's voice came through Reyes' earpiece. Target locked. Say the word. Do it, Reyes whispered. A blast of light ripped through the ceiling as the ship's cannon fired. It hit Karzek square in the back, throwing him into a wall of steel. Smoke filled the air. Reyes stumbled forward, breathing hard. His body screamed in pain, but he didn't stop. He reached Lena, pulled her up, and handed her a fresh weapon. We end this. Together. Karzek rose from the rubble. Half his armor was melted, his face burned, but he still smiled. You can't kill me, he growled. I am evolution. No, Reyes said. You're just another tyrant with a god complex. The final fight began. Reyes attacked from the left, Lena from the right. Together they moved like one, years of love, loss, and war guiding their every step. Reyes struck high, Lena shot low. Karzek fought back hard, using strength and speed, but for the first time, he was outmatched. Reyes' blade cut through one of the beast's legs. Lena's shot pierced a power core in his chest. Karzek fell to one knee, sparks flying. You think this is over? He growled. Reyes looked down at him, eyes cold. It is. For you. He drove the blade through Karzek's chest. The monster screamed, then went still. The lights in the tunnel died. Silence. Reyes dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Lena ran to him, holding his face, checking his wounds. I'm okay, he said. Are you? She nodded, tears in her eyes. You came for me. Always. Rook's voice returned. Signal clear. Fortress defenses down. We can go. Together, they limped through the dark halls. Fire burned around them. Dead Valak soldiers lay scattered. The war wasn't over yet, but the worst part was. They reached the landing pad. The Ghost Fang waited, wings open, ready to fly. As they boarded, Reyes looked back at the fortress. One last message. He pressed a final command on his wrist. The entire building shook. Explosives, planted across the tunnels earlier, lit up one by one. In seconds, the fortress exploded in fire and steel. The Valak command center was gone. The Ghost Fang soared away through the smoke and stars. Inside, Reyes leaned against the wall, eyes closed, bleeding but alive. Lena held his hand. You should rest, she said softly. I will, he whispered, when this is all over. Outside the window, space opened wide. But for the first time in a long time, Reyes wasn't chasing ghosts. He had found what mattered, and now the galaxy would remember, you don't touch what belongs to a human and expect to survive. The Ghost Fang moved through space like a shadow, fast and silent. Behind it, the Valak capital was burning. The warlord Karzek was dead. The fortress had fallen. But Jacob Reyes knew this wasn't over. He sat in the ship's med bay, bruised and stitched up, his body covered in scars. But he was alive. More importantly, Lena was alive. She sat beside him, holding his hand, watching the stars. Still hurts? She asked. Only when I breathe, he said with a smirk. She smiled and touched his face gently. You did it. Reyes looked down at his hands. We did. Rook hovered nearby. We're close to the human border, but there's a problem. Reyes sat up. What kind? Valak ships are chasing us. 3 war cruisers. They must have been called after your escape. Reyes stood slowly. They want revenge. Or silence, Lena added. If word gets out that Karzek is dead, the Dominion might collapse. Reyes nodded. Then we make sure the whole galaxy hears it. He limped to the command deck, pain biting with every step. The Ghost Fang shook slightly, enemy ships locking on. Red alerts blinked across the screen. Rook's voice was calm but urgent. We can't outrun them, and we can't outgun them. What's our best option? Reyes asked. There's an old listening post on a nearby asteroid, Rook replied. It has a long-range beacon. If we send a live message from there, all human and neutral systems will hear it. But they'll follow us there, Lena said. They will, Reyes said. and we'll make our stand. The Ghost Fang veered off, flying low through asteroid fields, dodging fire. Bright explosions lit up the black sky behind them as plasma shots chased the ship. Rays gripped the controls tightly. The old post came into view. A half-destroyed metal tower sitting on a spinning rock. Dead. Silent. "We'll need to fix the beacon," Rook warned. "And protect it while it sends." Rays landed hard. Dust and rocks scattered across the landing pad. No time to breathe. They ran out fast. Lena carried the beacon's core module. Rays covered her with his rifle. They entered the tower. It was cold and broken, but still usable. Rook's signal linked in. "Begin uplink." "I'll boost your signal." "Through the Fang. But you'll have 5 minutes before the Valok ships arrive." Lena hooked the module into the old system. Sparks flew, but the beacon lit up. "Signal. Waking." "Almost there," she said. 1 minute to broadcast. Outside, the sky turned red. The enemy ships dropped from warp. Rays raised his rifle. "Here they come." Troop transports landed around the asteroid. Dozens of Valok soldiers rushed out, black armor, glowing rifles. But Jacob Rays stood at the front of the tower, ready. He didn't speak. He didn't run. He fought. He fired first. Clean shots, fast and deadly. He moved like wind, dodging blasts, rolling between cover. When they got too close, he used his blade. The screams echoed across the rock. Lena stayed behind the beacon, typing, fixing wires, protecting the signal. 2 more minutes, she shouted. Rook's voice buzzed in. "Enemy boarding the tower!" Lena pulled out her sidearm and turned. 3 Valok soldiers charged in. She fired, hitting one. Rays heard the shots and rushed inside, cutting down the rest before they reached her. "You okay?" he asked. "I've got this," she said, wiping blood from her face. "You hold the line." Rays nodded and stepped back into the fight. More soldiers came. Too many. He was hit in the side but didn't stop. Then again in the leg. He stumbled but didn't fall. The beacon powered up fully. Signal, live. Lena hit the broadcast switch. "To all human forces, this is Lena Rays. Karzek is dead. The capital has fallen. The Valak are weak. Spread the message." Across the galaxy, human fleets heard it. In colonies, on outposts, inside war rooms. The message of hope, of revenge, of victory. Then the beacon exploded. A final shot from a Valak ship destroyed the tower's top, knocking Lena to the ground. Rays ran to her. "Lena!" She was bleeding, but alive. He picked her up, limping, holding her tight. "Back to the ship," he said. Behind them, Valak soldiers chased them. But as they reached the Ghost Fang, backup arrived. 3 human warships dropped out of warp. Fighters roared past, missiles lit up the sky. Valak ships broke apart in seconds. The Dominion forces tried to escape, but the humans were faster. The battle turned fast, and then it was over. Rays sat in the medbay again, holding Lena's hand. This time, the pain didn't matter. Rook hovered in the room. "The message is spreading. Colonies are rising up. The war may finally end." Rays leaned back, exhausted. "Good. Let someone else fight it." "You're a hero now," Rook said. "I'm just a husband who wanted his wife back." Lena smiled. "And you got me." They looked out the window, watching human ships fly together, strong, proud, united. Peace was finally possible, but Rays knew peace didn't last forever, and if war came again, they'd be ready. Months passed. The war between humans and the Valak Dominion had changed. After Karzek's death and the fall of the fortress, the Valak lost control. Their ships scattered. Some surrendered. Others ran to deep space. Human forces moved quickly, reclaiming old worlds, rebuilding broken colonies, and at the center of the story, Jacob Rays. He had become a symbol. Soldiers called him the Reaper. Colonists whispered his name with hope. Even enemy commanders feared him. But to Jacob, all of that didn't matter. He had only cared about one thing: getting his wife back. Now Lena and Jacob lived on a small, quiet planet far from the core worlds. No war, no ships, just a home by a lake and silence between the stars. Jacob spent his days repairing small machines for local farmers. Lena worked at a medical outpost, helping rebuild lives. Together they tried to forget the blood, the fire, the screams of battle, but memories don't vanish. Some nights, Jacob woke with his blade in his hand, sweat on his face. Other nights, Lena held him and whispered, "You're safe. You brought us home." Still, something deep inside Jacob told him it wasn't over. One morning, as the twin suns rose, a ship landed near their home, sleek, black, unmarked. Jacob stepped outside. A woman in a captain's uniform came down the ramp. She looked young, but her eyes were sharp, like she had seen too much already. "Jacob Reyes?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "Depends who's asking." She saluted. "Captain Alira Voss, Human Defense Council. I came to deliver something." She handed him a small cube. Reyes turned it in his hand. "What is this?" "A beacon," she said. "A final message from Rook. He didn't survive the last battle." Jacob felt something cold in his chest. "Rook's gone?" He overloaded. "The Ghost Fang's core to stop the last Valok warship, saved 2 colonies. He left this message just for you." Reyes nodded, his voice low. "Thank you." That night, he sat with Lena and activated the cube. Rook's voice echoed softly. "Jacob, if you're hearing this, then I'm gone. I've run the numbers. I always knew it might end this way, but I don't regret anything. I watched you turn from a ghost into a hero. I saw a man fight armies for love. You reminded me, an AI, that humans are something special. There's one last thing. The Dominion isn't fully dead. A few warlords remain, and they're building something dangerous. If they return, someone will need to stand again. And if that day comes, I hope you'll teach them the same lesson you taught me. Never touch what belongs to a human. Goodbye, Reaper." The message ended. Jacob sat still. No words. Lena placed her hand over his. "You don't have to go back. Not again." "I know," he said. "But maybe one day the someone will need help. Not today, but soon." The next morning, he buried the beacon near the lake, under a tree. He didn't wear his armor anymore, but he didn't destroy it either. It waited, hidden, silent, just in case. Years later, children on the nearby worlds would hear the stories. They'd ask, "Is it true one man took down the Valak warlord? Did he really destroy an entire fortress alone? Was he really human?" And the answer would always be, yes, he was human. That's what made him dangerous. No one knew where the Reaper went. Some said he died in the stars. Others believed he was still watching, waiting, because legends never die. They rest until they're needed again.